Rain tapped softly against the station roof as people crowded along the platform. Phones were checked, watches glanced at, and quiet sighs of frustration filled the air. Among them stood Daniel, gripping his briefcase tightly. Today was important, very important. He had an interview across the city, one that could finally change his life. For months he had been waiting for this chance, imagining the moment he would walk into the office confident and prepared. But the train was late. The electronic board blinked again. Delayed 20 minutes, Daniel groaned quietly around him. People muttered in irritation. Unbelievable, someone said. This always happens when you're in a hurry, another complained. Daniel felt his chest tighten. His mind raced ahead. What if I arrive late? What if they think I'm irresponsible? What if I lose the opportunity? The more he thought about it, the more restless he became. Then he noticed someone sitting calmly on a bench nearby. An elderly man sat with a small cup of tea in his hands, watching the rain fall beyond the tracks. Unlike everyone else, he seemed completely at ease. Daniel stared at him for a moment, puzzled. How can he be so calm? Daniel finally asked, half to himself. The old man looked up and smiled gently. Is the train late? He asked. Daniel blinked. Yes, very late. I have somewhere important to be. The old man nodded slowly and took another sip of tea. Then worrying will surely make it arrive faster, he said. Daniel frowned, unsure if the man was joking. Well, no, the man replied softly. Then perhaps it only makes the waiting heavier. Daniel stood quietly for a moment. He had never thought about it that way. The old man gestured toward the rain. Look, he said. Daniel followed his gaze. Rain fell steadily, forming small ripples and puddles on the platform. Do you think the rain is worried about when it will stop? The man asked. Daniel shook his head. It simply falls, the man said. And when it finishes, Daniel slowly exhaled. For the first time since arriving, he loosened his grip on his briefcase. The train would come when it came. He leaned against a pillar and listened to the quiet rhythm of the rain. The tension in his chest softened. The platform didn't feel like a battlefield anymore. It was simply a place where people were waiting. A few minutes later, the sound of an approaching train echoed through the station. Lights appeared down the track. The delayed train finally arrived. Passengers rushed forward, but Daniel walked calmly onto the carriage. Before stepping inside, he turned back to thank the old man, but the bench was empty. Daniel sat by the window as the train began moving. The city passed by slowly through the rain. He realized something surprising. He no longer felt panicked about the interview. Instead, he felt clear, steady. And when he finally walked into the office later that morning, he carried with him something more valuable than perfect timing. He carried calm, because that day, while waiting for a late train, Daniel had learned a quiet truth. Peace does not come from controlling the journey. It comes from learning how to wait.